As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. I was born into freedom in a wonderful land of mountains and plains, rivers and lakes. Forever American is what I am. A past as rich as any can be. My father's worked hard to give this to me. I love this place I come from. To live another way I cannot foresee. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. As an American, I've been to the peaks of majestic mountains where the air is sweet. I've watched the eagle as it soars in beautiful skies that just can't be ignored. And by this country I'll always stand, for freedom and liberty for every man. When times are hard and things get rough, America always stands ready and rough. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. Forever American is what I am.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. How you guys doing this evening? A wonderful, wonderful day here in the wonderful United States as Biden plans on sending millions or billions of dollars to overseas, over 100 billion in total. That's his new goal. Craziness, craziness, craziness. Definitely appreciate you guys being here tonight as we are dealing with all these issues, because Biden decides that he is the best and he knows everything that America needs and wants. Yeah. As Americans want to spend billions of dollars overseas and they don't have anything for themselves. But more on that in a minute. Hi, Debbie Martin. Hi, Debbie Rogers. Hi, Matt. Hi, Dina. Hi, Corinne. Hi, Pam. How you guys doing tonight? Definitely appreciate you guys showing love and support for the page and being here when we're live. Biden seeks billions for the border security along Israel and Ukraine aid. And this is ridiculous, Biden Biden planning on asking Congress for more than $8 billion to the Department of Homeland Security and billions for other agencies with the role of immigration. Of course, a sweeping emergency fund request was reported totaled around $100 billion, with $60 billion for Ukraine and around $40 billion for Israel. Not even talking about a sizable border component underscored the urgency of the migration crisis that has become the Biden administration. Let's be honest, they're the ones that started this, and they're not stopping it anytime soon. Hi, Corinne. How you doing tonight? Thank you for being here. But watching this supplemental packages that are also going to include funding for Taiwan is expected to be sent to Congress by the end of this week. The final estimate are subject to change, but we're talking well over $140 billion for emergency spending between Taiwan, Israel, Ukraine, and the border. Border funding, of course, is the only thing that we really need, and will go directly towards immigration enforcement or international efforts to slow migration, support for major cities in the U.S. struggling to accommodate migrants, or attempts to crack down on fentanyl smuggling. Who knows at this point if any of that will even be targeted? It might just be there to fund more immigrants coming into our country. Yeah. The request is expected to be significantly larger than what the White House asked for in September when they called for $4 billion for border security money to be tacked onto the short-term government funding bill. The $4 billion that went to border security, of course, did not go to that. It went to, of course, allowing more migrants to come to the United States. Wow. This money is coming from our pocketbooks, but our government just spending it willy-nilly. We have homeless in the streets, veterans not able to even house themselves or care for themselves on the streets. Meanwhile, we're making sure we're housing and caring for illegal immigrants. Even our poorest communities in Chicago are outraged at this point. The African-American community in Chicago that is being sent down the gutter, or basically down the street, of any funding they were receiving from federal government, as more migrant crisis unfold. Now, this migrant crisis isn't just this. It's a two-strike crisis. Yes, we have an influx of illegal immigrants, and sanctuary cities are finding problems with that. But the biggest problem with these illegal immigrants is how many of them are hardline terrorists. They're here to do harm to America. As we know, of course, everything that's coming through with the government now, a lot of them are watch list people that were already on the watch list, shouldn't be allowed in America in the first place, but somehow got through our border patrol, and we bust them to where they wanted to go. There's expected to be bipartisan support for the aid to Israel, so bundling this all together is the only way the, of course, Biden administration is going to get through. Hardline Republicans have expressed really strong opposition to the continued funding of Ukraine's war effort, with no end of that conflict in sight. And watching what's happening in Israel, it looks like this will be a long conflict as well. But as border-related requests are coming ahead of the new September border numbers, which at times in encounters we saw nearly 11,000 people per day being stopped. That's not counting the numbers that didn't get stopped. And we know we only stop around 10 to 20% of illegal crossers. These are setting records. We're talking almost 100,000 people a day, if that's possible. It's crazy. Hi, BK. How you doing tonight? Hi, Karen. Watching as the surge, of course, despite months of restricting policies that the Biden administration is supposedly trying to enforce, but yet lowering the amount of Border Patrol agents actually patrolling the border at the same time. New policy plans, though, do include resuming the deportation of Venezuelans, as plans to fund the Panama deportation and the reject asylum seekers who illegally cross the border without the first seeking protections in the country along their routes. But we'll see if this is actually enforced, because we know before this was supposedly going to happen with the Biden administration, and they just issued them summonses to show up at court. Never really helped. Sad. This is sad. Just because people are fleeing because they don't have good jobs, our economic situation here in our own country is problematic. When you have immigrants entering Chicago and saying it's a dump, there's nowhere to work, there's nothing to do, in our own country, saying it's worse than where they came from in Venezuela, there's a serious problem. And that's what we're facing. If you're wondering what's live behind me, we're watching live inside of Gaza right now. These are live feeds inside of Gaza. They'll keep switching up. But this is what's happening live. You'll see bombings and everything else happening. As we're expecting the ground force to enter at any time here in Gaza. So, waiting for Israeli forces to, of course, move in there. Watching this. Unprecedented. China, of course, is building up its nuclear weapon arsenal faster than the U.S. has previously ever thought to project. As a new U.S. report came out today, the Pentagon on China's military power says Beijing is exceeding previous projections on how quickly it's building up its nuclear weapon arsenal. It's almost certainly learning a lesson from Russian-Ukraine war about the conflict and what conflict over Taiwan might look like. Watching this, of course, in Chinese escalations in Taiwan, this could seriously threaten conventional strikes and target the continental United States, Alaska, and Hawaii at this point. As China reported for months, expect to be meeting with Chinese leaders and Xi Jinping and Joe Biden next month at Asian Pacific Economy Cooperation Summit in San Francisco. We don't see that going forward at this point. Watching this annual report required by Congress is one way the Pentagon has to, of course, measure the growing military capabilities of China. And this is a key threat in the region. America's primarily long-term security challenges are growing. There's no way at this point. Yeah. Starting a war is not going to improve our economy, unfortunately. Watching this devastation. As, of course, lots of stuff happening. As Russia, of course, foreign minister thanking North Korea for unwavering support of its Ukrainian war now. That's right. Russia, of course, drawing a hard line with nuclear weapons today, mobilizing nuclear weapons forces and getting ready for World War III. As that, of course, unfolded, Russia, of course, publicly thanked North Korea's support in the war in Ukraine. Just days after the United States said North Korea has transferred munitions to Russia to boost its war-fighting capabilities. Of course, this footage ran on Russian state television as crowds greeted Leonov and pouring rain in Pyongyang alongside welcoming parties, waving pom-poms. Sad. We're watching the rest of the civilized world join each other. Saudi Arabia, Iran talking about sanctioning oil to the Western powers. All this unfolding in days when we really can't handle this. As winter's coming, it's going to all unfold and it's going to hurt everyone here. It truly is. Yeah, leverage is more than a leverage at this point. Sad. Watching updates coming out of Gaza, the health ministry asked with anyone with a spare liter of fuel to help out hospitals. At this point, hospitals inside of Gaza Strip. Israeli airstrikes in Gaza continue. And Israel defense minister said that troops are ready for the ground assault at any time now. So we're, of course, watching. Of course, it is nighttime still there. The sun will be coming up in about 2 hours as troops are ready for the ground assault in the Palestinian territory. He has not said when it's going to begin, but we know they're ready. There are more than 1 million Palestinians, roughly half of Gaza's population, have fled their homes from the north. Gaza City, and after Israel told them to evacuate, the airstrikes early Thursday continued across the entire region, including areas in the south that Israel has declared a safe zone. That's right. Israel's attacking where they told people to go, the safe zone. Once again, not surprising. the office of the Israeli prime minister, of course, said that they would allow limited humanitarian aid into Gaza from Egypt, but yet that has not happened yet at all. It's been over 24 hours now, and Egypt's wondering why. Of course, when this war began October 7th, after Hamas militants stormed into Israel, Israel vowed to destroy the militant group, and Hamas run Gaza Health Ministry said that 3,700 Palestinians have been killed today and more than 12,500 wounded. This is crazy. Watching this unfold, it is sad. And we're watching other countries, of course, join in as Yemen fired rockets today. And U.S. Navy vessels shot down missiles appearing to head to Israel today, as American bases in Iraq and Syria were reportedly targeted by drone attacks today as well. Tensions are spiking in the Middle East. U.S. forces in the region are facing increased threats. U.S. Navy destroyer in the Red Sea, of course, intercepted 3 land attack cruise missiles, several drones that were launched from Houthi forces in Yemen. The action by the Cardinal potential representative of the first shot by the U.S. military and defense of Israel in this conflict. Officially, U.S. has entered this war. I know a lot of people are saying, well, troops on the ground entered the war. The U.S. doesn't want to admit we have troops on the ground. This is an official entering of this war. So whether you like it or not, we are involved now. As missiles were potentially heading to Israel, the U.S., of course, hadn't finished assessing of what their targets were, fired upon these missiles. Meaning we got involved. We're there. It's happening. It's not a question anymore. It's crazy. Shot down over the water. Missiles that we shouldn't be intercepting. We shouldn't be involved in this war in the first place, period. Yeah. Any kind of world travel. Even traveling in the United States has been warned against right now. But watching the array of drone attacks over the past 3 days that targeted U.S. bases, including one in Syria today that caused minor injuries, the rash of violence in the coming wake, the deadly explosion at the Gaza hospital targeting protesters in a number of Muslim nations, the Israeli military has relentlessly attacked Gaza in retaliation for the devastating Hamas rampage in southern Israel almost 2 weeks ago. Of course, Israel has denied responsibility for the hospital blast. U.S. intelligence has said they cannot blame Tel Aviv, not yet, and there's no evidence. People are talking about, it was a shoulder-fired rocket. The explosion that came out of this was tragic. The amount of devastation done in the hospital has been tragic. Watching this unfold. Yes, this is live from Gaza behind me. In recent days, the number of militant groups across the region, from Hezbollah to Nathanians, have expressed support for Palestine and threatened Israel. So now we have multiple countries, of course, that surround Israel, ready to launch attacks. Militants have launched at least 4 drone attacks that we know of on U.S. military installations. U.S. troops that train local defense forces, of course, that support missions to counter the Islamic State group. People chanting death to America at these protests that are happening around embassies around the world. The attacks and fueled escalation should worry the U.S. and the West. That the war in Israel could expand to a larger regional conflict and even a worldwide conflict. And that's exactly what we're trying to prevent at this point. Watching this unfold, though, is devastating. Devastating for the civilians, of course, involved. That's, of course, who I worry about. I'm not worried about militant groups or terrorists. They should all be dead. Not a question. Yeah. It's sad. It's sad seeing those videos and I'm not going to show them here. I am showing live streams of bombs going off behind me as we speak. Sad. It is a sad day in America. It is a sad day for around the world. Now, of course, they're going to claim these explosions going off are shoulder-fired missiles. That's what Israel's going to claim once again, as we know that. But you can tell, obviously, they are not shoulder-fired missiles. They're much bigger explosions than any shoulder-fired missile or rocket could handle. And it's sad. All unfolding, of course, today. All unfolding. The Pentagon, of course, getting involved with the U.S. getting involved in this can cause heavy problems. Watching Iranian-backed militant groups, of course, firing weapons to Hezbollah in the southern Lebanon, Israel's doorstep. We're expecting incursions to happen there as soon as the ground offense happens. And we don't know what the state will be after this. As we know, a lot of things are happening very quickly. People need to be prepared for anything to unfold. As we're waiting, of course, for Egypt to send in aid and Israeli forces to move in on the ground assault. It is a sad state of affairs. Yeah, innocent children, innocent women can't defend themselves, have nowhere to go. They're in the evacuation safe zone that they were told to go to, and then being shot up by or bombarded by bombs and missiles. Our soldiers shouldn't even be there at this point. It is a sad state of affairs. Getting involved in that, of course, and unfolding, making everything unfold that is unfolding in the Middle East. The U.S., of course, has their hand in everything, as our government wants to, of course, be in control, be the powerful leader. There's a problem, though. You can't, of course, be the most powerful leader in the world and not ruffle a few feathers. We ruffled more than a few feathers at this point. And it's sad. It is truly, truly devastating. Of course, we do have some incredible things happening. Governor Sarah Sanders, makes a massive announcement that Chinese state-owned companies must give up land in Arkansas. Of course, this should be a federal thing. This should be federal. This should not be a state thing. This should be a federal thing. Chinese state-owned companies should not own land in the United States. Period. People need to wake up. It's devastating, of course, having them own land. But, of course, having them own land and farming industry, and, of course, agriculture industry allows them to know what our crops are. Target the United States' system of feeding itself very easily because they can, of course, counter or develop pesticides that'll kill off those crops. And it will happen. It's sad shape that America's in, Karen. I wish Sarah's dad was still running. That's all I gotta say. They're a great family. Watching everything unfold, it's just sad. And I wish there was something better I could say about it. It's not. The United States is turning into a third world country quicker than anything you can imagine. As police are, of course, now aggravating with problems by not following the Constitution nor the law. Then, of course, you have people robbing stores, just running out, stealing whatever they want, not getting arrested because police aren't following the law, they're following feelings then. It is devastating. Absolutely devastating. Watching this unfold day by day, watching our government come crashing down. U.S. needs a slower economy to beat inflation at this point, but guess what? Our economy is about to stall, and it's happening. Talked to several business owners around the country, even Tyson Foods pulling out of Arkansas. All these chicken farmers losing their farms. Of course, you don't hear about that on mainstream news yet, have you? As contracts with Tyson Foods are being canceled across the state of Arkansas tonight and over the past week, these chicken farmers, that hundreds of thousands of them at this point, are no longer going to be able to produce or no longer be able to sell their birds because there's no other producer at the area. Of course, handles processing. It's a devastating scene because a lot of people are losing their jobs. Billions or millions of people crossing the border illegally. Our government doesn't know how it's going to stop the inflation problem without stalling the economy altogether, which they're doing. All this unfolding as we're watching war unfold in the Middle East and in Europe. It's just sad. Be prepared. Yeah, it's a huge industry in Arkansas. And this is just something I heard because farmers started calling me. I don't even think Tyson employees know yet that their factories or facilities will be closing after Thanksgiving. But this is a good way to tell them. They'll be learning about it first. But of course, employees figure this out coming weeks. They'll be given probably 2 weeks notice that they will no longer be employed. It's sad. Of course, these contracts for birds is way ahead of the employees, of course, that'll be facing these problems because contracts are 60 to 90 days out. So, all unfolding at once. Be prepared as the United States enters World War III, because we have entered this war. Whether we're declaring we entered the war, as soon as we fire the first intercept on one missile, we have entered this war. We intercepted 3 missiles. We are done. Chicken prices will go up. Well, the chickens there, of course, will be slaughtered, but after that, Tyson Foods pulling out, so they won't be getting new chicks to raise. These farmers will be out ridiculous amounts of money for their hoop houses and chicken houses. So, all this and more, just one day after another. If you guys can afford to donate, please do, as we need to raise quite a bit of money. I've already issued the check, like I said, to provide meals for people in need this Thanksgiving. And we've only raised $295. So, we need to raise quite a bit more to cover at least a portion of what we paid out. Unfortunately, we won't be able to use ad revenue from the old page because it doesn't look like we're getting it back at this point from Facebook. So if you want to, message Facebook and tell them Real News Live's page was stolen by a hacker in Vietnam. When are they going to get it back? Make sure you link them to my page so they know who I am, so they can give it back to me. I mean, that money desperately helps out people in need throughout the year. I mean, ad revenue may not be much, but it is a big help. But be prepared, because not just that, the U.S., of course, has officially allowed lab-grown meat to be replaced and meat products in the stores you're shopping at here in the U.S. Just crazy. If you want to click on the link down below, there's actually a donation link that you can use debit or credit cards through. Unfortunately, PayPal is the only account that we know is secure. And of course, the link account's pinned on the link tree. So when you click on that link tree, it'll come down, it'll say donate or send a donation as a thank you for the hard work we do. Those donations will be going directly to people in need. So definitely appreciate anything. It'll allow you to put your email address, postal code, and go to an agreement to make a payment. God bless you guys. We still do Zelle. If you do Zelle, I didn't even think about that. You can mail a check, but it has to have my name on it. But you can also do Zelle. The Zelle email, I will put it in chat. Look real quick. I think it's just my email now. I just put the Zelle email in chat for anybody that wants to use Zelle. I didn't even think about that. Thank you, Debbie Martin, for reminding me of that because I totally spaced on that one. But yeah, gonna get crazy the next couple weeks, and it's not gonna get easier, unfortunately. God bless you guys. Stay safe until tomorrow night. We'll be live again, giving you up-to-date coverage of what's happening, where it's happening, and what's next. Good night. God bless.